You picked the obvious best option. Then the world changed.
And the person next to you, who picked something less impressive, somehow kept more options. Two paths, one rigid, one flexible. They looked identical at the start. Same starting goal, different planning horizon. The flexible one wins more often. So what if the goal wasn't picking right? Learning to anticipate flexible choices.
The paper's contrarian answer: don't predict harder, preserve options.
Start with the classic picture. Every portfolio is a point. Risk on one axis, expected return on the other.
The efficient ones form a curve. Markowitz called this the Pareto frontier.
Where does the randomness come from? Every asset's daily close price is itself a random draw.
Mean return, variance, both estimated from those daily closes. So every point on the frontier is fuzzy.
And the frontier itself drifts as new prices arrive, stochastic and dynamic.
And if you commit to one point, you have to commit before you know which point you'll wish you'd picked. The paper's framing is unusually direct. Flexibility as a means to robustly postpone preferences. You must commit before you know your future preferences, so pick something that leaves your future self with the most room.
That's the move. Optimize for the menu, not the meal.
First, formalize the frontier. Drop a cloud of portfolios into risk-return space.
Erase every one that's beaten on both axes by some other portfolio. What's left is the Pareto frontier, the set of unbeatable trade-offs.
Formally, no point in the feasible set dominates any point on the frontier, in expectation.
Now the key move. Pick a reference point. Call it ZREF.
From each Pareto point, shade the rectangle of everything that point dominates. The total shaded area is the hypervolume. Two frontiers, same number of points. The wider one has more area. And more area means more distinct trade-offs you could choose between later. You're signing a 1-year lease. You could pick the perfect apartment on a quiet block. Or a slightly less perfect one in a neighborhood with 5 restaurants, 3 gyms, and 2 metros. You don't yet know what next year's version of you will want. The second option preserves the menu. That menu, that's what hypervolume measures. The myopic decision-maker uses only today's information, no prediction of how the frontier will move next. The anticipatory one reasons over a distribution of future frontiers. Same preference, better foresight.
Myopic is not the same as risky. It just means uninformed about tomorrow.
So how do you write that down as a formula? You want the decision today that maximizes something about the future. Start with the skeleton. Argmax over today's decision, UT, of something we'll fill in. Inside, the expectation of S, the hypervolume, applied to the future Pareto frontier. But the future has many steps, some across a horizon. Weight each step by lambda, a confidence in that prediction. We'll come back to lambda. Land on equation 4, the maximal flexible choice. That underbrace, future trade-offs, is the Pareto set you'll face at time t plus h, given today's decision. The paper introduces this as UT max, the choice that maximizes future flexibility. But the future Pareto set isn't free. It depends on what you pick now, recursively. Which unrolls into this, a weighted sum of the current frontier and every future one. The lambdas weight how much each future step matters. They sum to 1. If you trust the near future, lambda 1 is big. If everything ahead is fog, they flatten out. First, you need predictions. The paper uses a Kalman filter. Picture a spotlight chasing a dot. The halo shrinks when the dot is predictable and expands when it jumps. That halo is the uncertainty. It matters as much as the prediction itself. The second tracker watches portfolio compositions. Imagine 3 assets. Every portfolio is a point inside this triangle, the simplex. A Dirichlet distribution lives on it. As evidence comes in, it sharpens around the portfolios that survived. A sliding window forgets old portfolios. Old evidence stops counting. Now the clever part. When should the algorithm trust its own forecast? Compare 2 distributions, where you are now and where you predict you'll be. The overlap is the probability that current and future are Pareto incomparable. The paper calls this the time incomparability probability, TIP. If P is near 0, the future is clearly better, predictable. If P is near 1, the future is clearly worse, also predictable. But if P is near 1/2, the 2 distributions overlap completely. It's a coin flip. Binary entropy captures this exactly. 0 at the extremes, peak at 1/2. And here's the lambda, 1 minus entropy, scaled to sum to 1 across the horizon. When entropy is high, the future is a coin flip. Lambda collapses. The algorithm ignores its own prediction, by design. Watch the dial. As the forecast loses information, the model leans on the present. As the forecast clarifies, the model leans forward. Blending the current and predicted distributions is a convex combination. Linear combinations of Gaussians stay Gaussian, means and covariances both add. So the anticipatory distribution has a clean, closed form. One more piece. To evolve the frontier, you score each candidate point by how much hypervolume it contributes, an L shape between its neighbors. Call that delta S. In expectation, delta S splits into a clean product plus correction terms from covariances. Neighbors on the frontier share predicted means. Their fluctuations correlate. The covariance terms account for that. We'll defer the full theorem, but the intuition is areas next to each other aren't independent. Now the empirical payoff. 30 experimental settings. 26 wins for the anticipatory decision maker over the myopic one. 87%. Out-of-sample future hypervolume, the unseen future's option space measured per run. The anticipatory boxes sit higher in 26 of 30 settings. Versus the median strategy, 40%, smaller but real. And the real money test. 3 live indices, FTSE, Dow Jones, Hang Seng. Through the 2008 crash, through the 2009 recovery. The anticipatory strategy didn't predict the crash. It just kept its options wider while everyone else crashed. And it recovered earlier. The honest caveat. Under maximum disruption, when the world resets randomly every 2 periods. Tracking is impossible. The Kalman filter has no signal. In that regime, the median strategy wins. Pick the middle and stay alive.
The algorithm knows this. Its landers collapse, and it falls back. Step back. Something strange happened in those experiments. The decision maker never optimized for return. It optimized for the size of its future option set.
And the returns came anyway. There's a 2013 paper by Wissner, Gross, and Freer, Causal Entropic Forces. Their thesis, a kind of general intelligence, emerges from systems that simply try to keep their future options open.
This paper is what that looks like, written out. A worked example.
Treat the Pareto frontier as your unit of analysis. Measure its size, the hypervolume. Maximize that in expectation with self-regulating trust in the future. And good things happen on the original objective without aiming at it. One refused to chase. One did. The one who kept her options wider quietly outperformed, even on the returns she wasn't aiming at.